In talking about stress, there's a famous researcher whose name was Hans Selye, medical doctor up in Canada, and he documented that during periods of prolonged stress, the adrenal hormone, ACTH, will be overproduced in the body. That inhibits your digestive function. And it increases the risk of gastric ulcers. A 2001 study performed in a hospital in Sweden found that stress-related conditions directly contributed to gastrointestinal symptoms. So we know that stress is one of the reasons why various digestive problems occur. Another study at the Cleveland Clinic in Ohio came to similar conclusions as Dr. Selye had. It found that when a person is under stress, the body diverts the blood flow away from the digestive system, which results in indigestion, diarrhea, constipation, incontinence, or colon spasms. How many of you were told by your mother, don't eat and go swimming right after? Right? Because the swimming is putting more blood into your muscles and taking away from the digestive system. So you might get cramps if your digestion is not performing properly because the blood is taken away from it. Stress is a similar type thing, where the blood is taken away and it actually goes more to the muscles so that you can run or fight. So stress not only takes away the blood from your digestive organs, it can increase or decrease the amount of acid produced as well. Ulcers and acid reflux can appear over time as a result of stress responses. How many people here have ever had acupuncture or Chinese medicine? All right, 50% of the people here. Around 3,500 years ago, the Chinese discovered a network of pathways in the body called meridians. And this chart here is a picture of the meridians sort of lit up. And meridians provide a flow of energy and blood to all of the organs and tissues of the body, including those related to digestion. When blood and energy flows freely through the body along these meridians, the body and all of its organs function properly. If we took someone up here and we put a tourniquet around their arm and tighten it, tighten it, tighten it, and left that tourniquet on for like half an hour, what would happen to their arm? They go numb. It might hurt a whole lot. It might swell up. It turn different colors. That's because it needs to have proper blood in and out to function right without any pain issues. So this is what we're talking about. If you don't have the proper flow of blood to various organs, then they can have dysfunction and malfunction. Eventually that leads to disease. And after disease, then we develop the symptoms. Symptoms are the last sign of what's going on. It's already telling us something has progressed to the point of developing symptoms. So any program that helps eliminate digestive problems should include an exam and evaluation of the function of a person's meridian system, because that is at the functional level of the body. And it's important that blood flows to all parts of the body. Blood and oxygen to the brain, stomach, small intestine, etc. Acupuncturists are trained to evaluate a person's health by examining the condition of the meridian system. In addition, we are also trained to evaluate what is happening with your digestive system by analyzing your tongue. Now, how many of you brought a mirror this evening? Any women have a mirror in their purse? Or? Yeah. Okay, I'd like you to pull the mirror out. I've got a couple extra mirrors here. And so I'm going to hand out a couple mirrors, and I only brought a couple, so those men who didn't bring their compact with them, or women who didn't, bring it up. So we're going to look at our tongues. And we're going to analyze your tongue just a little bit. All right? So it's not impolite to stick your tongue out in this class. First thing to check is if there is a coating on your tongue. So it'd be like a little thick coating, or it could be very thin, or it could be thick. You shouldn't really have a coating on the tongue. If you have a coating, that's one thing. That shows there's some decrease in the function going on in your body. Is the coating white or yellow? We look to see the distinction between the two. Either could indicate a problem with your digestive system, and the color has a particular significance that we can't go into because it's too detailed tonight. Next, are there any cracks on your tongue? Particularly if you have deep cracks going down the center, very, very deep, it may indicate either a hydrochloric acid imbalance or enzyme imbalance. Of course, this could indicate a problem if you do not have sufficient hydrochloric acid, as we talked about earlier when I was dropping this pretend hydrochloric acid on my hand. Look around the edge of the tongue. Are there any teeth marks, or what we call scalloping along the edge? It's sort of in and out and in and out. This could indicate a problem with your liver. The liver controls blood flow to the stomach. It actually controls blood flow to the whole body because the portal vein, which is the return blood going from all the periphery, is filtered by the liver. And sometimes that will get backed up, and then you get a stasis of blood. You get the blood not flowing properly and getting filtered properly. Also, redness along the sides of the tongue can indicate liver problems as well. Is your tongue bloated or puffy? If it looks like it's swollen a little bit, that could be an indication of a lack of proper energy flow to the digestive system. Then we also look at the color. The color needs to be a nice pink color. If it's red or if it's purple, there's too much heat. Purple is the stagnation of blood in general in your whole body. If it's too pale, it means that you have a deficiency of blood. You just aren't getting good circulation, which would make sense if for example, if your nail beds were all white, indicates you aren't getting enough blood flow to the nails. So, looking at the tongue is one of the ways that we get some very accurate and yet easily observed information about your digestive system health. So, I will ask for the mirrors that I brought back because I use those in my treatment. But did everyone learn something about your system a little bit by looking at your tongue?
Unhealthy.
Unhealthy, yeah.
No, I'm healthy.
Oh, you're healthy? Yes. We'll see about that. What did your survey say? You didn't check off anything on the survey?
Well, maybe I did.
All right. So, we're going to review the digestive system a little here. Number one is the saliva. And that's in our mouth, in the salivary glands. It helps break down carbohydrates, which are the sweets. Which is why when we're chewing, and the more you chew a food, the more sweet it will taste if there's sweetness in there. Because you're actually breaking it down in smaller pieces so that the taste buds can sense that more easily. Gastric acid, hydrochloric acid we were talking about before. In the stomach, it breaks down protein bonds. Very important also as part of the immune system. Pancreatic enzymes. Those are produced in the pancreas. What else is produced in the pancreas? Insulin. Very good. Insulin is produced there to help control the sugar in your bloodstream. How much sugar is there? Pancreatic enzymes are for carbohydrates, for fats, for proteins. It also produces bicarbonate, which helps to deacidify the contents of the stomach as it goes through the intestine so you don't burn a hole through your small intestine or your large intestine. Gallbladder enzymes are primarily for fats. It's the soap that we talked about before that bubbles up. And there are also, we talked about bacteria and other organisms in the intestines. So in your notes here, I believe, I'm not sure, but I think we do have this intestinal health chart in your notes. So everyone turn to that, take a look at that. It's much prettier here in color, but on the left side of the page, we've got the healthy intestine. And so a variety of things, eating healthy foods is very important. Supplementing with vitamins and minerals is more necessary still because our food supply is the soil that things are grown on just is not as good as it used to be. The FDA, not the FDA, but the U.S. Department of Agriculture, etc., have done extensive studies, and the soil just is not producing everything it needs to. So we really do need to supplement because vitamins and minerals are very important for the enzymes to work properly, for example. Eating a wide variety of foods as long as you are not sensitive or allergic to them. If you are, you can get an inflammatory reaction in the intestine, and as you know, various of the conditions we talked about are related to inflammatory condition. There are a variety of extra components that are involved in a healthy environment in the intestine. Lactoperoxidase, that's a protein enzyme that damages unhealthful bacteria. So these are some of the things that if someone is having digestive disorders, we may actually prescribe those to help rebalance the good and the bad bacteria, so we get that 80% mark of the good bacteria compared to bad bacteria. Question?
Well, these two things that start off with lactose as
Yeah.
a prefix, do they have anything to do with being lactose intolerant?
They do not, but lactose intolerance is another issue that could cause inflammatory reaction in the body and digestive disorders. Very good. But the lacto part is related to milk, but is not specifically the milk proteins or the milk fat or milk sugar. Those are three main components of milk that you may or may not have some sensitivity to. The proteins, the fats in it, which are cholesterol related because it's an animal fat, and then the sugar, milk sugar. On the other side, you can see here the unhealthy function, the unhealthy intestine. On this side, you can see how colorful it is. It's got lots of good circulation's poor. There are not as many of these microvilli. In order to absorb nutrients into our body, we need to have a huge surface area. And so there are all these little things that look like fingers sticking up. Those are the villi that help to absorb the nutrients. If the intestine is getting unhealthy, you'll have fewer and fewer of those. The surface area is decreased, so you can't absorb nutrients as well. And as people age, studies have been done that show that typically people's digestive system becomes weaker as they age if they don't really take proper care to overcome that tendency.